He'll be with us a little later on to look ahead to some of those big ties in Copa America. But we start by reflecting on what happened in the Women's World Cup today. The US, of course, booking a place in the quarterfinals, but it was far from convincing. Here's 7, Kate.
Thank you very much, Dan. Kate, the U.S. surviving today, but by the skin of their teeth.
I wouldn't say that at all.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No,
all right, well, let's check out the
that
highlight and see if that's the truth of what happened between the United States and Spain, since it was such a dominant performance, Kate, for your beloved United States of America. 5th minute here. U.S. getting in behind the Spanish defense. Kind of a theme of the day. Tobin Heath into the box. Pretty clear penalty. U.S. going to the spot.
Yeah, Spain decided to play a high line, and U.S. takes advantage of it by a beautiful ball by Dahlkemper. And the question is not whether or not that is a PK, and it absolutely is. Tobin Heath's foot gets stepped on, and Megan Rapinoe puts it away. And that is by far the best chance U.S. had on goal in the first half. But this is the error on the other end. Alyssa Nair, first-time World Cup debutante, questions about her ability in decision-making, and this did not put those questions to bed.
So just to be clear, the center back says this is not on the center back, this is on the goalie.
This is on the goalie and the center back for Sauerbrunn for not playing quick enough and realizing that she had a player on her back.
Great chance here for the U.S. to go ahead just 4 minutes after the Spanish equalizer. Rose Lavelle, what a ball. Megan Rapinoe at the near post. Can't find the net.
Rose Lavelle brings something special in. She's always looking for that seam ball. And here's another chance, and that's what we saw all game long. Very few opportunities actually put on net. And the one time Crystal Dunn gets forward and creates from the width, this happened.
Was this a penalty for you?
You know,
a lot of people didn't like this call.
It's soft. It is soft. The contact is made. She does have studs up. She does take a step and then go down for Lavelle. But we have seen this called all tournament long.
It was going to be Alex Morgan to take it. All of a sudden, it's Rapinoe again. Her second look at a penalty and her second goal.
Megan Rapinoe, that is enough. 2-1. And in all honesty, the U.S. created all 3 of those opportunities.
So there you see it, possession in favor of the United States. We don't have a foul statistic on there, but Spain was certainly leaning on their physicality, especially against Alex Morgan. Kate, you and I watched this one here in Bristol, Connecticut. Julie Foudy watched it live. So, Julie, we'll start with you. Were you underwhelmed by the U.S. today, or was it good enough?
I was underwhelmed. And on cue, the siren passing. And, you know, but I think it's the first test they've had. We knew that was going to be an issue with how easily they got through that group stage. And honestly, you knew this was going to be a good Spain team. I don't think people are giving Spain enough credit, though. That's a good Spanish team that played smart, played tactically smart, knew that if they played them physical, it would disrupt them. And the U.S. never sorted that. They never adjusted, I thought, tactically. And I thought that front 3 struggled a little bit, in particular Alex Morgan.
Hey, Julie, on the second goal for the United States, do you think it's a penalty?
I do not. I thought it was soft. But here's the problem, right? When the referee makes the call and they go to VAR, when they see the contact in VAR and it studs up, had she not made it, right, it would have been a different story because I don't think she would have then ruled it a penalty. But because she had already made it, she couldn't then take it away because there was a little bit of contact. But I think it's a soft penalty. If it was the other side, that's what happened in the United States box, and the United States was going home on that penalty, oof, I mean, there would be an outrage, of course. And I thought the Spanish the Spanish coach handled it really well in the post-game press conference. He just talked about how proud he was of his team and how well they played, and didn't really point to that at all.
Kate, no goals from the run of play today for the United States against Spain. You not worried moving forward?
Well, I think this performance begs a lot of questions that the U.S. has to answer. Is how are they going to create against a very organized back line and also against a team that likes to sit low? The U.S. couldn't solve that. They were numbers down in midfield. They didn't use the flanks well enough. And to Julie's point, the front 3, and I think someone called them ATM on the broadcast, they weren't good enough today. I don't think we used the width that well. I don't think Megan Rapinoe had a good game. She's coming in as an inverted winger, but she's not creating much. So this is a team that a lot of questions have now come up. And the only reason why they're coming up now and not earlier is because they didn't have a strong group stage games, right?
Yep. U.S. advancing then to the quarterfinals in Paris against the host, France. Kate, France is a better team than Spain, right?
Yes.
If the U.S. plays like they did today,
they will not win.
France?
No. If the U.S. plays like how they did today, they will not beat France. They're going to have to address the issues that came alive
What are the
today.
biggest issues they have to address?
That left-hand side is concerning defensively. I don't think Crystal Dunn played that well. I don't think Megan Rapinoe played that well offensively, and that's why you have her on the field, is because she is so talented going forward. She isn't a defensive liability, but she's pretty close to that. So what are you going to do against the very dominant wing play of France?
Julie, a lot of discussion about Alyssa Nair after this match.
Yeah.
Are you nervous about her as we head into that France matchup?
Well, she didn't ease some of the concerns, that's for sure, that people had, and many of us have talked about coming into this. But I will say this, and Kate will know this moment well. The '99 World Cup, it reminded me very much of that quarterfinal against Germany. Brandy thinks she's passing it back to Brianna Scurry in our own goal, and Brianna Scurry is not there, and Brandy scores an own goal. She passes it into the back of our very own net. And Carla Overbeck turned to her and said, "You're going to be fine, and you're going to help us win this game." And it happened early. And you saw that interaction between Becky and Nair, where Becky was essentially like, "It's going to be all right. We got a lot of time to make this up." And what it showed me is that in those moments, which we know can just tank a team and ruin a tournament, they responded. Right? She dealt with it. She said, "I got to get my head up. I got to know that I don't want this to happen twice," although it almost did happen again. I think she was shaky for sure, but I actually think that in the end may actually end up being a blessing.
Nair, for you, Kate?
It'll only be a blessing if Nair comes out strong on the next type of challenge or the next decision making. That to me is a player that wasn't ready for the game. She was nervous. And when you're nervous, you don't see the whole field. You only cue in on one thing. She didn't even see that Spanish player coming in, Jenny Hermoso. She had no idea. So I think it's going to be critical for her the next time is just to kind of have that big moment. And then I think the whole entire team will play better. I think the team was rallied as well. And yeah, they rallied around her because they have the talent to do so. But against a tougher opponent that has a little bit more going forward, because let's be honest, Spain didn't have a ton going forward. They were focused on sitting back and preventing U.S. attacks. That's something that is, the questions are still there. They haven't been answered yet.
Julie, we got to get to these Sweden and Canada highlights, and I know you've got to get to all that champagne and Rams. So thanks for the time, and we'll see you in a couple days, all right? Sweden and Canada, the other match today. Thank you very much, Julie. This one, Kate, really tough to see like a big difference between these two teams heading into this game. 0-0 at the half, 55th minute. What a ball here. Kosovare Aslani up ahead to Stina Blackstenius, and the Swedes are up 1-0.
Just a beautiful ball, perfectly weighted. Knew Blackstenius could get onto it. Beats a fast back line of the Canadians. Stephanie Labe comes out and doesn't get the ball. 1-up for Sweden. But here's the question right here, where Canada could have tied it. Desiree Scott on the second ball takes a shot to Aslani, who provided the assist for the go-ahead goal, and the referee makes the right call. But here's the question. Becky takes a good PK. Hedvig Lindahl makes an excellent save. But why is Sinclair not taking the penalty kick?
And then here, 81st minute, Ashley Lawrence.
Just a little scissors tackle, eh?
I mean, that's...
Let's go with both
Right.
legs around Blackstenius, but here's the difference. Because her shoulder is off.
It was called a penalty, but then eventually waved off thanks to VAR.
And Zardarski is like, "Oh, thank you, ref." But the game continued. Again, Aslani, so dangerous, unmarked for a Canadian team that is so dominant defensively. They had gaps today in the second half. And in the waning moments, here we see another shot from Ashley Lawrence, and they're claiming handball. But at this point, the ref had already let the game go past the 7 minutes of added time. She does not go to VAR to review it.
So Sweden then, by the narrowest of margins, and there you see it, 1-0 winners over Canada. They advance to the quarterfinals. That means a matchup with Germany. That is a rematch of the 2016 Olympic final between those two teams, a game that Germany won. Sweden moving forward, Kate, here?
No.
Nope.
Nope. Germany is definitely going to move forward. They're more talented on both sides of the ball. And Sweden just doesn't have enough consistently through 90 minutes.
Something we will surely discuss on today's episode of our podcast. You can check it out, Women's World Cup Daily, under the ESPN FC banner on iTunes. Dan, back to you.
Of course, Argentina through to the knockout stages. Boy, they made hard work of it, but in the end, that win against Qatar enough, and it sets up a clash against Venezuela. This is what The front page of Ole had to say, now Venezuela after Brazil. And they're always talking about Brazil, Ali, considering how horrible they've been. Surely Venezuela should be their priority.
Well, and that's the surprising part. And look, I may be accused of having a Venezuelan bias in this show, and proudly so. But this has nothing to do with the fact that it's Venezuela, and everything to do with the fact that anybody who Argentina plays right now will give them a game.
Yep.
It will be an issue for them because right now, Argentina, they're all over the place. There's no structure to this team. There's no organization. There's no plan. There's no tactical approach. It's just 11 guys running around hoping that something happens and eventually maybe you score a goal, maybe Messi does something. It's no different than what it was in 2018. A year removed from that, we're still there. Argentina's still in that very same position where they don't know what they're doing on the field and they're just depending on Messi to create something. Maybe Agüero scores a goal, and that's it. What's surprising to me is that the media in Argentina, who know this very well, that you take for granted the game against Venezuela or whoever it may be. The next match is the most important one for Argentina because you have... There's no guarantee whatsoever that Argentina beats any team that steps in front of them right now at this very juncture.
We've seen nothing, have we, from Argentina to give us any sort of hope, if you're an Argentine fan, as to why they're going to not only get past Venezuela, but go anywhere in this tournament.
So there isn't that much in front of them now, you know what I mean?
Sure.
What I mean is not like another 10 games.
Yes.
You know, eight games or whatever. So there is a small chance, but I think I don't see anything other than, as Ali said, is anybody with a decent squad or a decent team is giving them a fright or giving them a game. And so they've got to get over that hurdle first. So I don't understand how they're talking about Brazil and whatnot, as if they've been like ruling the world of football for the last decade or so, when clearly they've got their issues, both on the park and off the park, it has to be said. But yeah, it's been a struggle for them, and I would not be surprised. I mean, I would imagine, I don't know what the record is against Argentina. I mean, I imagine it's not particularly strong.
No, it hasn't.
But then again, there's more often had better teams than they've got now.
Yeah, and if we go back essentially a couple of months ago, where Venezuela played against Argentina.
Yep.
And Venezuela did beat Argentina. And it was with this same coach in Scaloni, and it was with that same group of players or something similar to it. How is that different then than it is now, other than the fact that it's a friendly? Well, you can suggest, well, maybe the pressure ramps up for Venezuela. Well, the pressure ramps up for Argentina.
Sure.
Because if Venezuela goes on to lose to Argentina, well, you take it. If you're Venezuela, you're like, look, we had an opportunity here against a vulnerable Argentina, and we missed it, but you go on with it. If Argentina loses to Venezuela, then Scaloni might as well not even go home. He might as well just pack his bags and take care. Forget about it. He's not the national team coach any longer. And then what does that do in terms of ramifications for Lionel Messi with the national team?
Yep.
This version of the Argentina national team and the structure of Argentine soccer as it is. It feels like it's Messi keeping everything together. If he's gone, then what happens with the rest?
Now, you mentioned Lionel Messi. It's his birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday.
What is it today?
32.
Knocking on a bit, isn't he?
He is. He's getting old. Louis van Gaal, not particularly complimentary about him or indeed Neymar when it comes to their contribution to the club team. Sit back. Listen to this. Neymar and Messi, I like them as individual players, not as team players. I think Messi should ask himself how it is possible that he has not won a Champions League for so long. I think Messi is also responsible for what is happening in Barcelona. Not only the coach, players have a substantial part of responsibility for what happens with the team. They have a staff of 30 players, and I think Messi must adapt to the team and not the other way round. Guardiola did play Messi for the benefit of the team, but the last coaches have adapted too much to Messi instead of protecting the team spirit. That is the most important. That's why Barca lost in the semi-finals 4-0 against Liverpool. If there's a true team spirit at the highest level, this result is impossible. Even in the Champions League, it is inconceivable that Barca will lose by that difference with the players they have. He's got a point, Greg?
Well, I don't think he's got a point about... I mean, you're always going to try and structure your team around...
Your star.
Around your star, who has returned, I don't know, 40, 50 goals a season for the period that Van Gaal mentioned. I think this is another statement from Van Gaal that says, if I was coaching Manchester United, then I would do X, Y, Barcelona, then I would do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's saying. He's saying, I would do things differently and my way would be successful. That's just him throwing that statement out there again. He did it with, I think, with Man United in the last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And now he's doing it again with Barcelona.
In that same set of quotes,
Yes.
if you go further in the article, he gives the example of James Milner as the ultimate team player. Well, Louis, if we're picking players and you want to pick James Milner over Lionel Messi, go ahead. Have fun. You can keep James Milner. Yes, you need players like James Milner in a team, but you need a guy like Lionel Messi who puts you over the top. It is simple as that. Now, the other thing that I don't quite understand, and clearly Louis van Gaal has not been watching Barcelona this season, you can make the argument that regardless of whatever his production was in terms of goals this season, this was as good a season as Lionel Messi has had with Barcelona.
Yeah.
Because he literally, there were times in which he was physically carrying this team forward. Luis Suarez wasn't scoring. Coutinho, who knows? Dembele was injured. And whatever productivity was coming in the final third was coming from Lionel Messi. So if there was ever a year to get after Lionel Messi, this is not it.
Yep.
This is not it. He's completely wrong.
Gab Marcotti's with us. Gab, what do you make of this?
Look, I get where Van Gaal is coming from. He is a system coach, fundamentally. And when you have a great player, as Craig said, he doesn't sometimes fit into your system, and you ask him to take on more and more responsibility. And we've seen it from Lionel Messi. This idea that somehow magical team spirit isn't what, that if you have that, then you're not going to lose 4-0 in the return leg at Anfield. Well, I think most people would talk about how Liverpool have fantastic team spirit, and they lost the first leg 3-0, which is nearly 4, if my math is correct. So what are you talking about? I mean, there's 101 reasons why Barcelona did not win the Champions League this year and last year and the year before that. And are there things Messi could have done differently? Sure. But there's also 101 different people who could have done things differently to make it work. And I mean, Ali's right. If you have Lionel Messi, you put him in the team and you build the team around him. I think that's just common sense. I think this is just, Van Gaal saying like, oh, look, I haven't been talked about. Nobody's been talking about me for the last 10 minutes. I better come out and say something.
I think it's exactly what it is. And just briefly, no, we'll forget it.
I thought it was great.
I knew the Capella quotes were coming. I thought I could sneak a little line in there.
You can still sneak a quick line.
I'll get it off the back of this.
All right, then. Capello, meanwhile, talking about the signing of De Ligt, the possibility of him going to Juventus. If Juve sign De Ligt, then it's over again, and we go directly to the season after. De Ligt is the best defender out there. He allows you to defend with 2, freeing up the fullbacks. So, is he right, Gab? Is this kind of the feeling in Italy that it's really it?
Well, first of all, it's funny. So, De Ligt allows you to play in a way that Capello never plays, defending with 2, right? Because he always makes sure that there's multiple people covering his central defenders. I don't know. He's obviously a really unusual talent to have a center back with those qualities emerging this young. A lot of times when we see very young center backs make a difference, it's because they're freak athletes or whatever, and they maybe need to improve in other aspects like reading the game or technically, and De Ligt has that part. I don't know how close this really is. This is still a Mino Raiola move. Let's not forget. I think but would he make Juve a better team? Sure, of course he'd make them a better team right now, and he'd give them, because remember next season people go on about Bonucci and Chiellini, but those guys aren't getting any younger. I don't know you're going to get more than 25-30 games from Chiellini next season, and so you're going to need more depth in that role.
What's happening with Juve, Gam? Obviously Cristiano Ronaldo last summer, and then the possibility of De Ligt now. What's changed? What's turned?
You mean in terms of the spending? They went all in on Cristiano. They've grown their revenue. Again, it's always difficult to go and decipher figures. I still think that they need to do some serious selling to go and balance this out. And obviously, people like Dybala came up. People like Higuain, if anybody will take him. But I also think they look at this and they say, look, De Ligt, if we can get him for 75, 80 million euros through the magic of amortization, we can make this work because he's so young, and over the length of his career, even if 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we have to sell him, we're going to get our money back. I think that's the thinking. Without looking at the numbers forensically, it's hard to tell what the implications are, whether they can afford him, to what degree they can afford him. But there's no question that, they see it, they have a window of opportunity to win the Champions League, and obviously it's to do with Cristiano Ronaldo, and they're willing to invest to make it happen.
Somebody phone Fabio up and tell him it's over anyway.
Yeah.
Probably. All right, Antonio Conte's gone to Inter, and listen, he's a very good coach. We'll see what happens there. That'll be a lot to do with players coming in. But unless these older players that Gab mentioned really fall off the cliff, particularly the defenders, and Ronaldo doesn't perform, it is hard to see with Napoli being so far behind this year and Roma being off the pace and having the problems that they've got. And somebody's making very...
That's all right, don't worry. This is truly a discussion for another time.
Okay.
Because I want to...
hold on. What was a good discussion for another time?
Next season,
noises.
Serie A, surely. We've got plenty of time to discuss.
No, but is that not what Fabio Capella's saying?
Yes.
Right,
yes,
so that's part of this discussion.
Well, no, I was just kind of, that was it, and then we can move on. And then Gab made a noise, and now he's going to say, oh, but look, this is happening.
Well, I heard somebody made a noise in my ear, and I thought...
Well, there's only one man who's making that noise.
Well, the point is, it's not really... Is it that big a deal if he comes in or not for Serie A? That was my point.
Gab?
It is a big deal for Serie A if De Ligt comes in. I think, I say
is it a big deal? Is it a big?
Always win the league.
I mean, is it a big deal in terms of who wins Serie A and who doesn't win it? That's what I mean.
I don't think De Ligt moves the needle, but I do think that Napoli are definitely going to be more competitive next year. I think most of Juve's players are a year older, and I think Juve are going to prioritise the Champions League.
Hold on. We're back on the Ancelotti thing again, aren't we?
How do we get here?
How the hell? What tells you Napoli were miles behind this year? Anyway, have we got enough course? I don't care. I've only got this show and tomorrow left.
I know.
So I don't care. Say what you want to do.
Meanwhile, our producer, of course, is well, I don't know why I say of course, so you've got no idea that he's Dutch, but he follows the Dutch media heavily. And apparently they're up in arms with regards to De Ligt going to Juventus. If you could choose anywhere in the world, you choose the Premier League, Barca or Real Madrid. England and Spain have the two strongest leagues in the world. In those countries, you can see the best players and watch them improve. Juve, that club is guaranteed to win the league, and they couldn't lift the Champions League even with Cristiano. Why would De Ligt want to go to Italy? Raiola appears to be demanding a yearly salary of 14 million euros. In what moment did De Ligt become so money hungry?
Ooh. Yeah, because you're walking around Bristol, Connecticut thinking, what's Hugo Boss saying? Back over there in the Netherlands.
Has Hugo got a point, though?
What was that again? I wasn't even listening to that. Can you read me that graphic
It's
again?
all about money. If it was about ambition, why wouldn't you play in the Premier League or Real Madrid or Barca?
Well, it's not all about the Premier League. And I've always said, from we started discussing this a few weeks ago, that for me, this young man has to make the proper football decision, because the money will be phenomenal no matter where. Okay, it could be twice as much if he goes somewhere else, just for the money, but it's going to be phenomenal no matter where he goes, and he's going to make a very good football decision, and then the dollars will roll in as long as he doesn't get injured. I think it's more important for him to make football strategic decisions now, earning lots of money, than just going for the big pot of gold. I really do.
Well, it's not like he's going to Avellino or Ascoli in Italy. He's going to Juventus.
Yeah.
So the concern is, like in this article, is the fact that he's not going to be tested enough to help him improve, because it's Juve who mostly, obviously, steamroll teams.
As opposed to what? Going to PSG?
Are they tested there?
No, he said Barcelona, Real Madrid.
Are they
Premier
tested?
League.
Well, I have to say, the Serie A is very, like a lot of the big leagues, but Serie A is very tactically based defending, and the structures, and it's more fluid than it was, and a lot of the teams are trying to play a more open football, but they're very big on the basics of defending, whether it be Italian defenders or foreigners that come in there, and a club like that, with for him to go in and play alongside or under the Chiellinis and the Bonucci's, under the pressure of Juventus in that league, I think it will do the basics of his defensive game the world of good, more so than going to France.
You could make the argument that as a learning experience, playing alongside Chiellini may just help a young defender.
Right.
And a sense of leadership on the field, a sense of leadership inside a locker room, a presence in a starting 11 and on the field. What he does defensively in 1v1 situations, what he provides with the team. Look, there are worse places to go in the world, let me tell you. And if you're going to get paid to go and play for Juventus the way that apparently he's going to get paid, what is wrong with that?
Final word on this with you, Gab. What do you make of Hugo Borst?
I just think it's a silly thing to say. You got to look at this guy's age. I agree with what the boys said about finishing school for a defender. The way Ajax plays and the Dutch league is very different from what you'll find elsewhere. I think it can make him a more complete player. And by the way, Craig, I know we're not going to talk about this, but Napoli, as it seems likely, James Rodriguez, Costas Manolas, and Chucky Lozano, I think could be a different story next year.
You just have to get the last word in. Oh.
Don't ask Stevie about Costas Manolas. I quite like him, actually, but, anyway.
Yeah. Ask Sebi about Chucky Lozano, meanwhile.
He'd have been a good squad player at Man United.
Transfer Talk, be sure to check it out over on the website. Copa America continues tonight. Chile taking on Uruguay, Ecuador against Japan. Both those games live here on ESPN Plus, and both of those games significant. When it comes to Chile against Uruguay, it's all about who finishes top of the group. Meanwhile, Japan taking on Ecuador. Whoever wins that match goes through as the best third place team. This is, of course, how it stands at the moment. We've got Venezuela against Argentina for you. That is the standout tie, isn't it, in this Copa America quarterfinals. And that match is live on Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Plus. Rafa Benitez out at Newcastle United. According to the bookies, Gary Monk, the favourite to take over. Where was he? Birmingham before?
Yeah, sacked from Birmingham.
Eddie Howe, meanwhile, at Sevens at Bournemouth. Mikel Arteta, assistant with Guardiola. Jose Mourinho at 12 to 1.
Have you heard the latest with this?
Come on.
It's reported that in the discussions for the new contract, apparently Benitez or his camp emailed Newcastle to say, look, this has not gone any further.
Right.
We can't come to an agreement. And before he knew it, Newcastle put out a statement to say he'd left.
Wow, that was it.
So it's not exactly plain sailing. Look, if you thought Jose Mourinho was miserable at Man United, could you imagine him at Newcastle? And I don't mean that against Newcastle Football Club, because it is a fantastic club with a big support, but it's got an ownership that doesn't want to spend money.
Yeah.
So he ain't going to be going there unless that club changes hands.
Gab, just explain briefly, as an outsider looking in, why did this happen? Because obviously Rafa's done brilliantly there, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think simply put, you have an owner, Mike Ashley, who's not popular, doesn't, he's not there because he's a Newcastle fan. He's there because he wanted to make money. He's made his money. He's put the club up for sale. He's not going to invest it further. It's a tremendous crowd. It's a tremendous fan base, 50,000 at St. James Park. They want more. He's annoyed. Rafa obviously wants more, wanted certain guarantees. He wasn't going to get them, and so he walks.
Is there any part of you, if you're Jose Mourinho, just thinking, wow, this would be a great chance to prove everybody that I'm still great, that I've still got it, that I can do it on a shoestring?
No, not a chance. And in fact, I would go as far as to say that most of those guys in that list would not walk into the room or into an office at Newcastle and say, yeah, we want this job, we want this opportunity, because you have to know what the plan for the future is for a club. If you want to take the club in a certain direction, but you don't know what the ownership situation is going to be, how does that secure your position as in a decision-making role as a manager of a club? It doesn't. If you don't know who your boss is going to be, then what are we talking about? And Jose Mourinho, as much as he may like to say that I'm going to prove it on a shoestring budget, nobody wants a part of that. Who wants a part of fighting off relegation year in and year out? Nobody does.
The trouble is what Newcastle had, whether you're a Benitez fan or not, is an elite manager.
Yes.
So they had an elite manager who was prepared to work within those constraints with the belief that at some point the club was going to be sold or the funds would become available. And the problem for Mike Ashley, although it's not a problem for him financially, but in terms of the support turning on him, is that Benitez did such a good job there and became so popular with the fans that he could really do no wrong in the eyes of the supporters. And him and his camp were applying pressure to try and get the club sold or to try and get funds. And it's just not been forthcoming. There's been a bit of money spent, but nowhere near enough to be anything other than mid-table at best. So, unless that club changes hands, there is no elite manager going to take that job.
Gab?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the keys, right? They've come close several times, ultimately to selling the club, and I think that's the one thing that would have kept Rafa around. You know, the prospect that Ashley wants to get out, but he wants to get out on his terms. People see potential in the club, and I think that's how you're going to have to sell it. You know, very honestly, some of those guys who've been mentioned are up and comers. They take the job with the proviso, with the hope that Ashley's going to fed up, maybe drop his demands a little bit, sell the club. Look, if Newcastle find themselves in a situation where they're seriously in danger vis-a-vis relegation, Ashley will spend just enough money to keep the club up to protect his asset. Question is, you could do that when Rafa Benitez was there. Can you do it with somebody else who's maybe less experienced?
And I think the thing for Benitez is that now is a good time to get out, probably.
Yeah.
Because his stock is relatively high from that job, and there might be some big jobs in a few months coming up.
Speaking of getting out, it's a big show tomorrow. Craig's last for 5 weeks.
What?
Excuse me.
What?
40 days.
40 days.
What?
40 nights, ladies and gentlemen, without Craig Burley.
100% vacation.
God, I'll be queuing up to come on this show.
Surprise, surprise today. France and Romania drew in their remaining match in Group C in the European Under-21 Championship, meaning they are both through to the next round. Meanwhile, Croatia and England played out a 3-3 draw. So it'll be Spain against France in one semi-final, the others against Germany against Romania. You can see both those matches on our ESPN networks. Meanwhile, let's say top 10 goals of the tournament so far. We've seen some really good strikes. Let's start off with this one, shall we? Nice build-up play in the Poland goal against Belgium.
Well, bit of a low bar.
Yes. Okay, it's going to get better.
Good run, toe poke, good pick out, easy finish here, not too bad.
Maybe we get just under top 5 goals.
Yeah.
Right, in at
Well,
9.
I'm up for that.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Top 3, actually. Done and dusted.
It's top goal.
Top goal, Bosch, out. Discuss it. That's nice. I bet there's a Danny Ceballos goal in here somewhere.
I'm sure there definitely is. Also the same game.
Well, okay.
Jaron with the goal.
Now we're talking. See, I don't know what that 10 was, but the last couple, now we're talking.
Had to beef it up, didn't they?
Yeah, because anything after that is looking great.
Top 9 doesn't have the same ring to it. Fabian Ruiz, Spain against Poland, comes in number 7.
Yep.
You see it, if they got a shot from behind the goal, you can really see the curl on this one.
Okay.
Look at this.
Super excited.
Look at that.
The shot from behind the goal.
What?
Groundbreaking.
In at number 6, John Joe Kenny. Jojo. That was from today?
Yeah. Good goal. Put England around.
Hey, what happened to England, by the way?
They were guff.
Well, Danny Ceballos.
Told you.
On cue, Craig.
Good player as well, isn't he? His mate's just gone to Atletico Madrid. Did you see that?
Yes.
Marcus Llorente.
Yes. Thanks, Craig.
Well, you in here, all good
I mean,
things.
breaking news.
Yes.
It's Ceballos once again, Craig.
Told you,
Number 4.
Oh,
Sweet.
Yep. That's why Llorente's gone to Atletico Madrid.
Or Llorente.
What did you say?
Top 3.
It's got an L at the start of it. It's good enough for me.
Are they there? Oh, look, Peter's man. Beautiful. Oh,
that
massage.
That number 10 was a ringer, wasn't it? Where did that appear from? I don't think that was supposed to be on the tape.
Oh, this is nice. Not a whole lot of people watching it, but it was nice.
Romania, England, meanwhile. It was a dramatic game, wasn't it? Romania winning by 4 goals to 2. Their best goal coming here.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the Hat. Is it Hadji? Who is it? Tell me, talk to me.
Florian Koeman.
No, this is not. No, this is not Hadji.
The Hadji one in this game was pretty special as well.
Well, it's not in it.
Well, it should have been
meanwhile,
number 10.
That's from Waldschmidt.
What?
Who? Luka Waldschmidt. Oh.
Yeah, hardly any back left there. Look, to get that power, there's not many of us can do that.
Ah. Beautiful goals then. Speaking of beautiful people, you can check them out.
Number
It's an
10.
old retro Stevie picture there. Will Liverpool legend Steve Nicol ever return to coaching? Check it out on our YouTube channel. Gold Cup action last night. Martinique taking on Mexico. Mexico, of course, massive favourites going into this game. And they would take the lead in the 29th minute. Antuna making it 1-0.
Tuna does well in coming inside. It's not exactly the cleanest contact on the ball. Not the prettiest flip, and not the best goalkeeping either.
But what about this? Martinique with the equaliser, and in some fashion as well. Passing and making it 1-1.
Great free kick. Keeper didn't even move to his other side.
5 minutes later, Mexico make it 2-1. Raul Jimenez with the goal.
I can handle those. It's my kind of range. Tap in City, 2-1. Mexico's going to fly away. Oh, who knows?
Well, they would make it 3-1. Navarro with the goal.
Good play, to be fair. Nice link-up play.
Remember, Martinique aren't even recognised by FIFA. They don't even have a FIFA ranking. With 6 minutes remaining, though, they would make it 3-2. Delen with the goal.
They can dance, I'll tell you that much.
There you go. Mexico then, with the expected win. This is what the Martinique coach had to say after the game. We have 5 professional players to compete with professional teams. We have to show heart to compete. Well, they certainly showed that. Meanwhile, this is what Tata Martino had to say. Playing against better teams in the competition, we'd be out playing like that. So it looks in Group A as expected. Mexico are through. Canada on 6 points. Meanwhile, Martinique and Cuba just picking up 3 points between them. Just a reminder, extra time always worth checking out over on the YouTube channel. You never know quite what direction it's going to go in. And normally this picture is saved for extra time, but we thought we would bring it to the show. Steve Nicol trying to avoid the poison ivy.
He's weed whacking.
Oh, no. It's like...
He was going home from golf this morning to do that.
Oh,
Wow.
It looks like the...
And it's hot. It is hot.
So he's had to go and buy a new strimmer and all the equipment to do it.
Right. And the mask.
And the mask, look at the mask, he's got the mask. But that's cost him money rather than just paying somebody to do the job for him.
Yeah.
He looks like he's going to work on bees, like a beekeeper or
Yes,
something.
yeah. But it is weed whacking.
He said, give me some. Yeah, it does, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a
He's
beekeeper.
weed whacking like a beekeeper. Hey,
Oh my Craig, what a mess.
just pay somebody to do it.
All right,
No,
thank
you
you very
won't.
much, guys. More of this tomorrow. Till then, goodbye. Welcome in to Extra Time. Thank you as always for your tweets. It's a very special day for me today because it's the last time working with Craig Burley for 40 days.
Hold on, you're not in tomorrow?
Nope, I'm off tomorrow.
Who's
Hey, for me as well.
Is it? You off as well?
Who's doing it tomorrow? I'm going
It must be Sebi.
I'm going to kill him.
Oh, it's Adrian. Adrian's in.
Oh, he won't know.
Oh, yeah, you'll be killing him, and he will.
I'll be killing him and he'll be looking down at his sheets going, what the hell was he looking at? He was doing it last week again.
40
When
days,
Stevie
Craig.
was talking, hold on, yeah. And he's got these notes. You'll have to watch Adrian. Right? He's got these notes down here. What the hell's on them? I don't know. And he just keeps looking down. When you're talking, I'm like, what's he doing? Yeah, 40.
What are you going to do with yourself?
No idea.
Wow.
We're going to be golfing? Yes.
We'll definitely be golfing. I've got some business to take care of, but my boss has off.
Businessman.
No, not business. Private business, not my business. What about my boss today, our boss? He said to me, if you get bored, like, and you can come in.
I know. Why did he say that? Why even open the door for you?
And
to
then
come
we'll
in?
give you those
Come in
days.
and annoy us.
No.
Actually, I've got a couple of days. I've got to go to the ICC.
Okay. Well, you going to Houston?
I'm doing a game off here. Oh, sorry, they're all on site. I mean, no. So I'm doing a game off from the booth here. I've got to go to Houston.
Right.
Just for a couple of days with Ian Dark.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah,
All right.
And then that's it. Just a little favour.
Why hasn't Argentina given Mauricio Pochettino a chance? Do you think he would make a difference? Ali, you're our Copa America man.
Maybe it would make a difference, but you just look at the squad and you look at the players out on the field, and I have to say that through all the struggles of Argentina in terms of structure in the federation, they've always had good players. It's not quite the case now. They have okay players, but not Argentina level of players from what we have come to expect from Argentina.
Gab, when are you going to Brazil?
Yeah, I thought
That must be soon. Oh, Thursday.
What are you going for, Gal?
I'll be
It's going for the Copa
for the
America.
Copa America, Craig.
Yes, business.
Yes,
to
you'll be
attend.
off, so I'm
Business.
sure you'll no doubt be following the tournament at your leisure and
reading
yeah,
Gab's
be at
articles.
2 quarterfinals, the semis, and the final.
Well, wasting money. Why can't you just? Why can't you? You're going to write articles, aren't you? Why can't you just write them from your house like you always do?
Who do you guys think had a better career, Fernando Torres or Samuel Eto'o?
Wait. Can I not answer Craig's?
No,
Sorry.
we're on the
Craig.
clock apparently. We're on the clock today for extra
So
time.
that's fine, Craig. I don't just write articles. I speak to people, yeah? And the people are there. The people who play in the
you've hit a
matches,
nerve
people
now.
who coach the matches.
Oh yeah, they get great access. Yeah, what
Right.
through the mix zone. Yeah, magic.
Fernando Torres or Samuel Eto'o? Gab?
I don't know.
Samuel Eto'o.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go Fernando Torres. It's
Gab's getting upset
Euro,
in case somebody says this and
world
realises it's a big
champion.
waste of money.
European champion, world champion. I mean, I know those are team achievements, but
Yeah.
those are still part of his career.
Oh. Craig, do you...
Yeah, I spoke to the player in the mix zone and he said, yeah, it was a game of 2 halves. It's never an easy game. The usual cliches.
Do you think PSG should be more grateful for Neymar? From a marketing perspective, they have new line of clothing with Nike and other major brands. Messi or Ronaldo aren't doing that. What you don't get on the pitch, you get in worldwide ads.
Oh yeah. You get front page and back page headlines. You get the lot.
Brand Neymar, eh?
Brand Neymar.
You're telling me that Messi and Ronaldo are not brandable athletes?
Well, yeah, but they don't have their own line of clothing. Well, they probably do.
Right, I'm not taking 40 days off. I'm going to Copa America as well.
Yeah?
And I'm going to speak to people.
No, you're not.
In what language?
Their language.
Yes.
Coaches and players, I'm going to hound them up in the mix zone. Like I'm going to follow Marcotti around like a little intern, see how it all works. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take up journalism. That's what I'm going to do.
Gab's face.
Good job we're on the clock today. That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
Send Ogden. Where's Ogden? Send him as well.
Oggy's in the studio tomorrow.
Yeah.
What? When Craig returns from holiday, will he be less grumpy because he's had time off or more grumpy because he's back at work?
Good question.
No,
That's a
I'll
good
have
question.
been more grumpy because the boredom will have well and truly set in, and she'll have been harping on to me non-stop about going on holiday somewhere, and I'll be ready to just
Good. And we'll be coming in and it will be pre-season. We'll be asking you who's going to win the league, who's going to get relegated.
Ballon d'Or.
Oh, Ballon d'Or.
well, and we can go over the ashes of the Gold Cup.
The ashes of the Gold Cup.
Oh,
Craig, we waited for this. What did you make?
yeah, it finished 15 days ago. Let's go over let's just rake up the coals of the Gold Cup and the importance of that game against Guyana. Right, get me off, will you?
That's it. Craig is back then tomorrow for the last
I can't believe
time.
you're off.
Me and Ali are off.
You timed that.
That's it.
You two have been to your boss.
Gab's writing an email now about why he does need to go because of Copa America.
People. Got to see people.